Mr. Bale, I'm the biggest heavy metal fan on the planet,
Oh,
and
yeah?
I'm so happy that he's drumming out to Pantera in the film.
Right.
Because my favorite song they ever wrote was "By Demons Be Driven."
Oh, it
which
was?
which is the song that you're playing.
Right.
I'm wondering, so I know you learned that in 2 weeks, but was it only that song on drums that you learned? Was Pantera's song?
It was just that. It was yes. Adam asked me if I was available for his daughter's birthday, and I said, yeah, absolutely. I'll play one song again and again and again. But what an enjoyable song to learn. You know, it's the first one. It's a very bloody intense song.
Yeah.
Double kicks. And something that Mike would play regularly. It's one of his favourite songs as well, and he used it. Here's the thing that's amazing about Mike. He listened to Pantera, Mastodon and stuff to calm himself. You know, that's the speed at which his brain works, is that heavy metal is actually a calming influence, upon the man.
Is it true? See, I actually listen to heavy metal when I wrote my questions today. I love metal. I listen to it all the time. Is it true that you actually hurt your leg before doing that shot? And
It was totally destroyed. The MCL, the ACL, the meniscus were completely severed right through. It just helped with he was meant to have. He literally, Mike got incredibly ill. We don't really address this in the film, but Mike got incredibly ill during this period because of the stress, not only of the potential fraud that was going on, but because of the personal response from his clients, right, who he ended up earning a fortune for, but who all got incredibly angry with him, and bizarrely are still angry with him to this day. And he got very, and so it just helped with that stress, the fact that my leg was swelling up as I was doing these kick drums and everything. So it just aided with that scene.
What I want to ask you, though, is mention all the filmmakers you've worked with, and I was thinking back to Spielberg's Empire of the Sun, one of the greatest films of all time. And I wanted to know, on that set, you were so young. What did you learn from Spielberg on that set that you still utilize today, either in Nolan's films or even McKay's film? What did you take with you from that set that you still use?
You know, the thing that I don't know if it's still true to this day, but I remember him always telling me. He always said, "You're always best on your first take." And so,
really?
So I never complain if somebody goes 1 take, 2 takes, moving on, we're done. You know, there's a lot of actors that they want to numerous takes. But we would do very few takes, even on a film of that size. And so it made me very accustomed to, 1 or 2. That's it. That's what you get. So make sure that it's truthful right from the get-go. You know. Be happy with accidents. They're often the best things that can happen. But trying too hard is always the worst mistake. You've got to know your character well before you ever step onto that set, so that whatever you're doing, it can be used.
Wow, that's cool.
Ideally. Yeah.
That's awesome. Mr. Bale, thank you so much, man. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Cheers.
All right, so I'm really fascinated by the depth of just the emotional quality of this character, also Foxcatcher. And I'm wondering, as an actor, when you go home at night from filming a scene like this or Foxcatcher, can you go back to like yourself? Is it normal to go home with your family? Is it hard to do that?
No, I'm still the character right now. I can't.
You're still John
It never
DePont
leaves me.
right now.
I'm so method that I'm on my 4th marriage. They just can't stand it anymore.
Yeah.
Foxcatcher was a little different because, of all the makeup and we were in Pittsburgh, and it was the whole atmosphere was kind of depressing and dark.
Yeah.
This was different in the sense that there was lightness within it, and there was comedy, and it was a joyful experience, but with elements of sadness and tragedy sort of laid in. But yeah, no, I go home to my wife and kids, and it's pretty normal. I try to leave my job at work.
One thing I find fascinating is I talk to actors who have both delved in comedy and drama, and some actors say comedy's harder, some actors say drama's harder. But I'm wondering, since we know you so well from comedies, obviously The Office, Anchorman, Brick, obviously, what has comedy taught you about drama? Like, what has it taught you about being dramatic?
I don't know exactly. It's all kind of the same, because I don't think a character in a movie doesn't know. They don't know whether they're in a drama or whether they're in a comedy. They're just living their lives. So I think if you approach it that way, and just try to find whatever truth there is to the character, it's going to play better. It'll be more connected and resonate and feel more alive and real. I think things are funnier if they seem like they're coming from a real place. Even something as broad, you bring up Brick. Like, that guy believes what he's saying. I mean, it's
he loves Lamp.
He loves Lamp, but he doesn't think he's being funny.
Right.
He doesn't know it's a comedy. He doesn't know that he doesn't understand how people perceive him necessarily. And not to get too into the characterization of Brick.
Hey, I think it's a great character.
But I mean, I think I like to approach characters in that same way. Like, what's human about this person, and to let that be your guide.
There's some pretty wild scenes where you're remembering what happened to your brother in the film, which
Yeah.
is hard to watch. And I'm wondering, obviously we get glimpses of that moment, and I'm wondering, do you build, I mean, I know there's loosely based on certain characteristics of real people. Do you build in exactly what happened that day so you know? I mean, obviously we see glimpses of it, but
Right.
do you have to kind of relive that in your mind as to what happened?
Yeah, I mean, you create a scenario in your head as to what has been fictionalized and what you actually know of the character. And I met the person who this is based on, and it's weird talking to someone who you know you're then going to depict on film, because you don't want it to be creepy. You don't want to feel like you're examining them or kind of stealing from them. You know, because they're being so gracious and so generous to talk to you and to tell you about themselves and what they did and how they felt, and you want to be respectful of that. I really think that's it. I think all of us wanted to respect the people that we were portraying, and then he showed up on set the second day that I was shooting, and was exactly the type of person that I thought he would be. He was incredibly self-confident, and he was, by the end of the day, he was instructing Adam on how to direct. He was standing at the monitor giving notes. But he's fearless. He's a fearless guy, and he's bold and he's brash, extremely intelligent. But he doesn't shy away from anyone or anything.
You played some of the most emotional characters I've ever seen on camera. Pines, obviously Drive. I love this character because he's kind of wacky and kind of out there. Do you miss people that you play once you leave them? Like, do you kind of like ever miss being them on camera?
I don't miss this wig. I don't miss it at all. Even though it's down the hall doing its own junket. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes, it is in a way that you get close to this. To these characters, and then you have to say goodbye to them. But this was different. This world was very foreign to me, and but this character was really fun because, I mean, in a way, I grew up on Saved by the Bell, and so when I first started watching TV, it's like there's Zach Morris and he's talking to the camera, and it just seemed to me that was a part of acting, And then when I became an actor, they never let you look in the lens. It's like a real taboo. So to get to look in the lens and talk to the audience was really, it felt pretty good.
That's what I want to ask you about, the breaking the fourth wall. It's such an interesting concept because you have to do it in such a way where it does work. It has to work for the audience. Do you almost feel like you go into a different character when you break the fourth wall? Like, because you're like almost like breaking the story for a second to talk to us? Like, is there like a different performance structure, or is it the same character all throughout?
No, yeah, and that's the thing that I think was really tricky about this, because I am playing somebody that's loosely based on a real person.
Yeah.
Like, that's taking a huge liberty with them to then suddenly break the fourth wall and become like a talk show host and introduce celebrity cameos and whatnot. So, Adam, McKay, and I really, we tried a lot of different versions of how that would work, and I think we got to a good level.
When you read the script, what was the one thing that you genuinely just didn't know that just shocked you, like that you were just blown away by?
I think I think the liberating idea in the movie, although like there's so much to learn from it. I learned so much in reading it, and then also even just in watching it. But just the idea that the film takes the position that this world is intentionally made to be alienating, to make you feel stupid. The terminology is designed to make you feel dumb, so that you feel like you can't understand it, and therefore you won't ask any questions, and they'll just be able to do whatever they want, you know. And I think when you kind of approach it from that perspective, it really opens things up, and it allows you to sort of think, oh, well, maybe I can understand this, and maybe you know. And the beauty of what McKay has done is that he's genuinely passionate about this. He genuinely wants you to know what happened. He wants to inform you, and he also can't help but be hilarious about it.
Yeah. Did you spray tan before? I was wondering how that worked. Like, like before every day, did you do it? And with the hair, how long did that take? I'm just out of curiosity.
You know, I think it varied every day, and I think that the shades of tan varied per scene, you know.
Yeah.